None at all. Okay, we'll just do a quick brief here. This is my dad, Edward Garrett, survivor of WW2. He was in the Navy. This is his wife, Blanche. Say hi for the camera, Blanche. Hello. Okay. And we're back to my dad. We're going to interview him. Get him to tell about his war years here. So, let's start from the beginning. Okay. Where was you living when you got your draft notice?
I was living in Sapulpa, Oklahoma. Turned 18 and had to register for the service. And about 2 weeks later or so, they called me over for my physical to Tulsa. Went over and took the physical, passed it. They asked me what I wanted, the Army or the Navy, and I told them it didn't make me any difference. So they gave me the Navy.
They just give it to you.
I put Navy down on my papers.
Well,
Went back home, got all straightened out, everything. Got a few clothes. Thinking about, I don't know how much later, probably a couple of weeks, I had to go back to Tulsa, catch a train to Farragut, Idaho.
that's where you took your basic training.
Camp was.
And what was it like, pretty much?
Well, yeah, it was up close to the Canadian border and it was cold.
Yeah.
Got in there and they swore us in and all that.
So what was the swearing? What was it like? Just swear you'd be loyal to the country?
Yes, just like you see on TV when they talk about anybody getting into the service or anything. Uphold the Constitution and all that. So
That was no problem, huh?
went through boot camp. That boot camp was, it wasn't really rough. We had a lot of exercise, calisthenics, did a lot of hiking, did do some swimming, but a lot of guys didn't pass swimming, so they still didn't kick them out or anything.
So they made you swim in the cold?
Well, we had pools inside.
Oh, I see.
Inside pools.
So that's different.
But some of them didn't pass, but they still stayed in the Navy.
So what was their duties, probably?
I don't know. I know quite a few guys, but they got ship duty and all. But I guess they figured they'd throw a life jacket to them and get in the boat or something. So that happened.
One of the buddy systems would take them under their arm and swim ashore with them, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, after your basic training, what happened? Where'd you go from there?
I went from there up to, up around Spokane, Washington, but that wasn't the main place. What I caught first ship was USS Washington, battleship. It was in for repairs or something. It was going back out to where I was supposed to catch the ship I was going to be on, out at the Marshall Islands. Went out there,
Where are they located?
out in the Pacific, about, I don't know, probably going by ship. It's pretty slow, so.
Yeah. So it's like a few hundred miles.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, it's,
Off, would that be west of Washington?
yeah, beyond west of California and California. Right there.
I understand.
So we went out there and caught the USS Baltimore. That was the ship I was stationed on.
That was your first ship you served on, right?
That's the only ship I served
That's
on.
the only ship you served on. So for the 2 years that you was in the war, you was on the only one ship, right?
Yes, on Baltimore, USS Baltimore.
Where'd you
which
go?
was a heavy cruiser. It's the next size ship to the battleship. Big.
Okay.
I think there were 1,900 men on it.
1900. So,
For the crew and the service personnel, on the wheels. So, went from there to Philippine Islands, stood off, bombarded the Philippine Islands with the big 8-inch guns.
was them the ones you loaded?
That's the ones I passed powder,
Yeah.
passed ammunition. They used 2 large powder deals that weighed about, I think they weighed around 40 pounds each, something like that.
Your powder
They used 2
magazines?
for each shell, each projectile.
So how did that work? How did you load them in?
They went on a conveyor belt or chains up to the gun. The gun was on deck, and we was about 4 stations below the deck.
4 stations below the deck, and then
They passed it up there. They bombarded the islands with those big 8-inch guns. And then after that, we went back to the Marshall Islands. Had about, I don't remember how many days, 3 or 4 days recreation. Swimming, water, and all that.
so the Marshall Islands are pretty much a safe place for
Yeah. Yes, occupied, original call.
Yeah. Okay. So that's probably when you first seen battle, was when you went to,
First battle.
and you didn't really see much of the,
And we went out, didn't see much fire.
say like what you're shooting at till after you was shooting, right?
I didn't never see it out below deck, but we was just shooting the island for hitting gun placements and all that, bunkers and things.
Yeah, I understand. Okay.
Trying to knock out the military so land on.
Yeah.
That was the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
Then I come back.
To the Marshall Islands. And then after you had to leave there, what did you do after that? Where did you go after that?
And after that, we went just out in the Pacific, engaging the Navy of the other Japanese Navy,
And you pretty much stayed,
just out in the Pacific, about all the time.
yeah.
And we'd be getting close to them, and they'd send out aircraft bombing.
You'd shoot at them too?
Yes, we shot some of those down. I don't remember just how many the ship did shoot down. But I was up on deck some when they was shooting out in them and seen a few of them fall. The other ships, we were in a convoy,
Mm-hmm.
about probably 20 ships in a convoy.
You all pretty much stayed together? All the ships
yeah,
did?
Just so far apart.
Yeah.
Covered a pretty good area.
Yeah.
Had the aircraft carriers and destroyers, light cruisers and heavy cruisers, battleships,
And they had pretty
torpedo
much,
boats,
pardon?
torpedo boats.
Did you ever see them go off?
Torpedo boats?
Torpedoes?
Oh, no,
Mhm.
I never saw any. We didn't have any torpedoes. The destroyers had torpedoes,
I see.
but I never did see them go off or anything.
So basically, You say he's on to Baltimore, right?
Mm-hmm.
It basically had your big guns that you loaded and
It had
anti-aircraft guns.
5-inch anti-aircraft gun, had 40 millimeter guns and 20 millimeter guns.
Uh-huh.
40 millimeters was in 4 guns to a quad,
Mm-hmm.
and the 20s was all single, one man operated.
Yeah.
The 40s was about, but I think there was 3 men on each set of 2 guns.
And they pretty much were self-loading, didn't work.
Yeah, well, they had a clip or whatever, they used. You have to reload it every so often. But they were automatic shoot 8 or 10 at a time.
Yeah. So they was pretty much da-da-da-da-da-da-da like that.
Well, they could up, quad,
Did they shoot all in a row, sort of, or 2 would shoot and then 2 others would shoot?
Yeah, well, maybe one and one. But anyhow, there was 2 guns together. There was 4 in what they call a quad.
Yeah.
It was on the rotating station.
Okay.
And it wasn't manually operated, it was operated from probably called a computer, but I don't think they called a computer then. It was operated from
Guided system.
automatic guiding system. Lock on the gun.
So did your ship ever catch any damage?
No, our ship didn't, but I rode on one, and a 500-pound bomb went through it, but it didn't explode. It just went through the hub.
It stayed in there?
It stayed in there. They got it out. Patched it up,
Patched the hole up so it wouldn't
with
sink.
water.
Yeah,
Take a
on
lot of
the
water. Yeah, they patched it up where water would get in. It's pretty rough water out there sometimes, through 2 or 3 typhoons.
Oh, really? What was that like?
That's where the ship, the water's so rough, the ship would roll over sideways and almost tip over.
Oh,
We
man.
rolled more than they're supposed to.
Yeah.
They haven't figured out, so they rolled so far and they'd go on over. Ours rolled more than they're supposed to, but it never did flip over.
Did it make you a little seasick then?
I was seasick, yes.
Well, I bet you and a lot of other people were seasick, weren't they?
Yeah. It was in one where the ship, just like ours, the whole valve got broke off. Just so rough the water.
Oh, really?
Broke the valve off.
Oh, what did they do about that?
Well, I guess it had enough hatches closed and everything, never saw it. They towed it back to dry dock. I guess they put it back together. No, nobody was lost that I know of on it.
Yeah. So, when you were fighting the enemy, did they ever shoot or sink any of y'all's ships in your convoy?
Well, they hit a lot of them. I don't think they ever sunk any that I remember. But they had those, I forget what they called them, suicide pilots.
Kamikazes?
Yeah, kamikazes. They aimed them planes at ships and run right into them.
Yeah.
They had, bombs on them too that exploded. They never did hit us. There's a few of them hit the water around. They got shot down
Before
before they got to the ship. Most of them did. Once in a while, one get through.
So is them the ones that did the most damage, probably? Would you say?
Yes, that's the ones that did the most damage. And they tried to pick the bigger ships, you know, the aircraft carriers and the battleships, heavy cruisers, you know, the larger ships. They want them out of the way.
Yeah, well, that's just battle plans.
Yeah.
So then their guns and stuff was pretty much, they hit every now and then, but not as accurate as the kamikazes.
No. Kamikazes, they would just get aimed, and even if they got, shot, they just got the pilot or something, but they just keep coming right on at whatever the target was. Try to hit it. A lot of them got shot down out there.
Yeah.
So went through that. Went back to Hawaiian Islands.
Pearl Harbor.
Pearl Harbor. For recreation. I think we was there for, I don't remember, seemed to me like maybe a month.
Really? So how long are you in the war about now then? How long had you been in?
Oh, probably about a year.
About a year. Okay, so after Hawaii, where did you go?
Well, I went from Hawaii, we came back to the United States to get an elevator put on the ship for the president to use on the ship. We were supposed to take him for, I don't know, whether just for a cruise or what, but he got on the ship.
Did you ever meet him?
Yeah.
Shook his hand and stuff?
Met him. He had that little dog with him.
Yeah, we're talking about Harry S. Truman, right?
No, we're talking about Roosevelt.
Roosevelt? I thought by the time of that, no.
Roosevelt.
I'm sorry. Roosevelt came on board.
Yeah, his little dog, black Scottish dog.
Yeah.
Named Fowler.
Yeah.
So hauled him around up in the Aleutian Islands, Alaska, up and around Alaska. Went into 3 different ports up there.
Yeah.
Went into Juneau, Kodiak, and I think it was Kodiak. 3 different places.
So why was he riding around with you?
I don't know why we took him. We wasn't going anywhere to sign a
Treaty.
or anything that I know of. I don't know why we took him to the Aleutian Islands.
This is when he was in the wheelchair though, right?
Mm-hmm.
I see.
Yeah. And had an elevator to get
Yeah.
on the ship.
So you met him, he's a pretty nice guy, huh?
Well, I met him, and I didn't visit with him or anything,
Yeah. Well, how long was he on your ship?
Oh, probably 3 weeks, probably.
That's quite a little stay.
We had a big fishing trip.
He did?
Yeah, everybody on the boat tried to fish. I think that had any fishing equipment.
Yeah. Well, you could bring your own fishing equipment?
Yeah.
Really?
You could bring it or buy it, when you went in the port or something.
And they let
Which
you
wasn't
fish?
very often.
Yeah. So did you catch any fish?
I didn't catch any fish. It wasn't very many that caught fish.
What kind of fish did they catch?
I don't know. Just different kinds.
So you went up and took the president up to Alaska.
Yeah. Went back to California down there, San Diego.
San Diego?
Took him back to States. And we left You gotta leave furlough. You have to go back home for a couple of weeks again or something like that. I don't know just how much. And we went back, caught the ship, we got there and went up to Tokyo, Japan. This was after the war ended.
So that's all after they
That's
already
after they already bombed
Nagasaki and Hiroshima.
atom bomb.
Yeah. So you weren't nowhere near that then, huh?
Not until it was over.
Not until it was
We
over.
went to Japan. Yeah. 3 days, or days, or
Leaving Japan. So now these are the people you was fighting. Now you was on their country. How did they feel about that?
well, I don't know, they were pretty friendly.
Was they?
We went, when I got off the ship and went to Tokyo, it just looked like just about all that was left was see bunches of big metal safes sitting around, just everything else burned down.
Yeah. So you went by Nagasaki too? Did you see that?
No, I didn't get to either one of them places, Hiroshima or the other one, Nagasaki,
Yeah.
after they had A-bombs. That's about all.
So you told me about the ship in half. What's the story on that?
I was just in a typhoon and the water was so rough, it just, I guess it's going up and down like this and just broke the bow off.
That's the one that you said the valve broke on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they just towed it in like that, huh?
Towed both pieces in. I mean, I don't know whether they towed the big part in, but they towed them into dry dock. I reckon I never did hear no more about it. Put it back together or what.
Hmm.
Then while I was over there in Tokyo, that's when they started letting them out. Giving people discharges on the point system.
On the point system. So how many points did you have?
I don't remember, it seemed like it was somewhere around 100. But they started out the higher and then go down. I got hit my point system marked off while I was out there, and I had to catch another ship back to the States then.
Oh, you did?
Because mine wasn't coming back.
So you was getting discharged, but your ship wasn't coming back to bring you home.
Yeah.
So what ship do you remember which one that one was?
No, it was a smaller ship. It was the one that had the 500-pound bomb
Go through the
go
hole?
through the door.
So how long after the war was over was you in the service?
Forgot when it ended.
Well, it ended in August of 45, didn't it?
45 or 46.
Maybe 46, you was there. I don't know. I'm just going from the history books. I know it ended not too long after they bombed them. That was in August.
Must have been 46.
Well, when did you join? When did you draft?
44.
So there you go. So that had been about 46 then, huh?
Yeah.
And you wasn't in too much longer after the war was over, right?
No, I wasn't in quite 2 years. So I went in 44. It might have
Might have
ended.
been 45.
Might have been 45 when it ended.
I'm thinking it was not too long after the one in Europe was done.
There was one.
About a year then, that had been about a year. Well over a year. Then the one in Europe been in like 44, early 45. Oh well, we can just
I
go
got
look it up.
discharge papers in there. I can take it when I got discharged out.
Yeah. Yeah, so you kept them?
Yes.
Did you keep your draft notice?
Yeah, I don't remember keeping it.
Did you get any commendations or recommendations?
You know, I got lots of ribbons and stars.
What kind of stars?
It's just for battles. Was in, you know.
Okay.
I don't remember what campaigns, what all campaigns we were in. We had ribbons for every campaign.
What's the campaign? A battle?
When they, meet up with other enemy ships or bombarding islands, or I just have to. I don't even think I kept my ribbons. I don't even know where they are.
I know all of Grandpa Smith's, he had like a bunch of cross guns, medals, and different, and underneath them would be little swinging things that said like marksmanship and accuracy and stuff like that.
I didn't get none of those yet. But I had some, like I say, ribbons and stars. I didn't keep them either. I didn't really want much to remind me of them. Seen
Was
a lot
you
of
ready
places.
to get out?
I was ready to get out.
I bet.
I've seen a lot of places I'll never get to see, and if I hadn't been in, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to go through and go see them for the same situation.
Yeah. Would you ever like to go back and see what they're like today?
Well, not really.
Okay. All right. So now we asked, how was the food?
Well, I thought the food was pretty good, but
A lot of people
on
complain.
ship, I don't know, maybe you get better on ship or something. I didn't have no problem with the food.
Okay. So you was ready to get out. Did you ever think you wouldn't make it back home again?
No, I always planned on making it back home.
Well, how did the war affect your outlook on life?
Well, it made me realize that everything's not just give me this and give me that. You gotta, some people try to take away stuff that you really need to fight for and all.
So that means basically hold on to what you got.
That means I'd probably, if I had to, I'd go back in to help the United States from getting took over by another country.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. So even if they asked you to go back in today, you'd go back in if they keep from somebody
Yeah.
else coming over and taking over America. Huh?
Yeah, sure would.
Well, I would too. But, okay. Did you learn anything that you didn't already know?
I probably learned a lot of stuff I didn't already know.
Yeah. How did you learn how to tie knots so good?
Well, we had teachers that help show you how to tie knots and what they were and how to splice a rope. And,
So you learned that in the service?
yeah, but you practice it or anything.
They just taught you right then, huh?
Just, they taught us, but we never did have to do it or anything.
Well, you sure do it a lot nowadays.
I don't splice ropes.
Yeah. Well, that'd be kind of like splicing a cable too, wouldn't it? Yeah. You gotta unravel it and then re-ravel it.
Yeah.
And make it so it looks like part of the rope.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it ain't strong enough, is it?
Yeah, it'll be a little bigger than the rest of it because it's two together, but you gotta weave them around just certain ways so they'll hold and not break.
Yeah. And you never have used that. And, okay.
You know.
All right. What thing sticks out about the war most that you remember when you think about it?
Well, the damage that was done over there in Japan.
A lot of damage.
Oh yeah, yeah. What I seen, you know, was a lot of damage. We were in Tokyo and some other places, and it was just demolished, looked like to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that really, that's the main thing that sticks out about the war.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of damage there.
Like I say, that we went over there to Tokyo and right down in town, and it looked like everything was flat except you could see a big old
Safe.
metal safe sitting around where the floor is, you know.
So they had a lot of safes in their building, or a few safes?
Well, I guess all the businesses probably had safes.
Yeah. That's the only thing that was standing, huh?
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay. So then after the war and you come back home, you pretty much went back to your life, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. I pretty much went back to what I was doing before I went. Yeah.
And you worked for 2 years out of your life, huh? Well, that's quite a bit of action, Dad. I mean, see, you went out, went swimming, went up to Alaska, took the president out to Alaska.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to add?